Right guys, we are working from the Book of Samurai, Arms, Armour and the Tactics of Warfare, and we've got the NATO Ryu blank workbooks. Now today we're working on two concepts called Kenka and Noriai. So, sorry, I've got to read that backwards, Noriai. So, when you're with a group of samurai, remember it's a coalition normally. Normally they're not all from one clan. It's clans who are coming together to go to war. So what you find is that people will actually start to fight with each other, or even samurai within the same clan will fight with each other. That's why there was lots of laws on not drawing inside and things like that. So for the correct terms to use when you're talking about samurai fighting for not revenge, they're just fighting. Footed people, whether it's samurai, ashigaru, or whatever, is kenka. So they go into kenka. Whereas noriai is when mounted warriors start to skirmish. Now, in an army that's miles long or hundreds of yards long, you can actually think somebody's being attacked at the other end because suddenly you hear sword clashing and horses neighing and people start scattering and you think, oh, we're being attacked. So actually, the people have to wait and say, is it kenka? It might be noriai. And they go, Kenka, it's okay, two people. And then they'll get punished later, possibly beheaded for fighting in the line and disrupting the army. Because there's really strong laws on not disrupting the army. But people jostle for position. They're trying to, get in a place of prestige and things like that. So people start fighting. So get yourself a copy of this, guys, the NATO Ryu blank workbook, and we'll keep going through it. One of the big questions about sort of samurais, where do they carry their food? Now we do have konida, which is the baggage train, and so the baggage train helps carry the stuff, but you have to give rations, daily rations, to people to go and get them. You don't really want to give them hot rice and use it for the day, so often samurai carry rice on them. Now we're using samurai arms, armor and the tactics of warfare, and what we've got here is a look at how to carry them. Now remember, you've got katana or uchi katana style, and you've got tachi slung style. Now, and this is your obi. Now what you have normally is cloth with rice, uncooked raw rice inside, and what you find is after so many days, or if you're on campaign, the rice starts to sprout. That's why there's little green things there. But basically a soldier should be carrying about 3 days worth of rice with him. You sometimes see these in tied bundles all over, like hand grenades tied to them, but they just like wet, and they get wet in the rain and they start to sprout and things like that. So they've got to keep most of the rice dry and then give them 3 days worth. And the reason you give them only a limited amount is because they will start making sake with it. So all the foot soldiers apparently start making sake and going, yeah, let's cook the rice, and then they're all starving for days and just pissed. So we don't know exactly how it was attached. We can do some more research on this, but on the whole, we know it says use your tenagui to do it, or you just use cloth, or you might have a container, you might have a pouch bag. It depends if you're tachi style, katana style, in armor with an outer obi. The point is at your waist you should have rations, and if you're in the army and you don't have rations on you, you should be punished, because people say, where are your rations? And the reason this is so strict is so you're not making alcohol from it. So there you go, guys, tachi style or uchi katana style, and that is carrying of rations. Right guys, signals in an army. Who gives the signals, the vanguard or the command center? What do you think? So we're working from the Book of Samurai, Samurai Arms, Armor and the Tactics of Warfare, and we're in our NATO Ryu blank workbook. So this is what we're on. So this is the vanguard, yeah? So let me just get this right. Await signals for advance. So this way is the taisho. The taisho is the commander of the army, and the army is actually marching that way. So the taisho plans things, but the vanguard informs. So there's drums, there's conches, there's flag signals, and what happens is all the way back here, right down here, the army are marching, and the vanguard are the protection force. And something might have gone on. We spoke about kenka, which is fighting between people, and we spoke about noriai, which is fighting between mounted people. It might just be internal squabbles, but if it's not, the vanguard will give the signal. There'll be a specific signal: retreat, attack, we're under attack. All those things will go on. So what we have to do is make sure that we listen to the vanguard. So when you're marching, you basically, something's going on, you hear there's commotion, you wait, don't run away from each other, don't break up, and you're like, Okay, vanguard say it's okay, okay. Or the vanguard might be go, stop, halt the tours, get into position, formations, and then the taisho will be like, right, let's move. So the taisho has the commander of the vanguard, a very, very sort of like high-ranking person. So that person knows what they're doing. They're very experienced, and they say, yeah, we're doing that. Okay, so signals between vanguard and the rest of the army, but specifically between the taisho and them. Okay, guys, so when an army is marching, what time do they set off? What time do they make camp? And how do they actually march? We're going to go through it. So we're working from the Book of Samurai, Samurai Arms, Armour and the Tactics of Warfare. And we're going in our Natoryu blank workbooks. Okie dokie, right, so this is what we've got. I'll explain this in a minute. So first of all, the army start to march at the hour of the hare or the rabbit, hare or rabbit. So that is 5 till 7 a.m. So let's call it 6 a.m. So they get up probably about 4:30, de-rig their mini tents, pack their horses, and then off they go. So, and then they actually stop at about 2. So it's the hour of the ram, which is 1 till 3 p.m. and that's, let's call it 2 o'clock. So it's actually 8 hours of marching from 6 a.m. till 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. or from 5 a.m. till 1 p.m. They say, you know, you might do 7 hours, you might do 9, you might do 8, but that's an average of what you're doing. Now, of course, you might think, oh, stopping by 2 in the afternoon is quite thing, but you've got to set up camp, you got ready and get in bed. And remember, it might take them an hour to de-rig their camp, just because remember, they're only making makeshift tents, and it's probably campaign season, which means it's probably warm. So off they go. You know, people do fight in the snow, but a lot of campaigns are done in the sort of warmer times because it's just too bloody cold. People stop fighting in winter because it's too bloody cold, and then you don't have to heat your army. But basically, what we're finding here is 8 hours of marching. Yep. And then you'll probably have about 8 hours of sleeping, which leaves you to 16, and 8 hours of prep and downtime. So you're looking at about, say, 2 hours prep in the morning, 2 hours prep in the evening, you know, overall on maximum. So you're probably on your day, you got a couple of 2 or 3 hours to just sit down at night. But most people will be knackered after marching for 8 hours a day and de-rigging for 2 or 3 hours and then eating by the time you're at that. And you know, you might have been in combat, you're weary. That's by the time these people get to war, they're like, oh, you know. So there's also another thing. Every 5 let's just call it every 5 units of distance. Let's call it every 5 miles. It's not, but you know, just for ease of thingy, you should search around for 2 so 2 miles. So what you do is you march 5 miles, you search for 2 with the scouts and one of the leaders, and you march for another 5 miles, you search for 2. But what you find is this army is trailing all the way back. So the people at the front go and search, move, search, and you already have scouts way ahead of you who are looking for camping points. So they'll go, and their construction camp people set up, they put their flags in the ground, say, right, all this unit here, that unit there, this unit there, and if they don't come back, they're dead. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff going on just to get a samurai army on to walk. Okay guys, when should a samurai relax at night? We've been doing recently some videos on samurai camps, and we're going to go through samurai arms, armour and the tactics of warfare. Okay, so I'm going to show you now. We're working from the Natoryu blank workbook, so get yourself a copy, and we're looking at this. So this is a tent. It's made of paper. It is waterproofed paper. This is a bamboo hut, which is basically just made of bamboo with straw on it. This is a temporary gate with temporary bamboo fences that have been cut down in the local area. This is a selection of huts with curtains in them and samurai helmets with flags. And this is a watchtower. These are all things that are found in samurai armies, okay? So what we don't really know, really deep down, I would like to do more research in this, is just what a samurai camp looked like, a daily camp. We know there's curtains erected, we know there's bamboo huts erected, but that might be a semi-permanent camp. We're not quite sure about the daily, like you're getting up, you're marching, you're getting up, you're marching. So what we do know, though, is that the camp construction commander goes ahead of the army. He picks the position. The rest of the army is scouting around and marching and scouting the area as they march, yeah? And then what we find is that when they get there, they're going to have their own tent. All they need to do is chop down bamboo. There's tons of bamboo in Japan. Chop bamboo, put the poles up, throw them away. Make some quick temporary fences. You know, they've got gates that they will put on horses, constructed gates. We also know that they've actually got sort of towers, and the towers, they can slip into position. These are in the Gunpo Ocean. You click, 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 and you can get up these watchtowers. You just need to look about like that. I was going to put binoculars then, but there's no binoculars. The first telescope didn't come to Japan for quite some time. But you can look around for enemy shinobi, enemy troops. Then in the morning, these people get up, they start de-rigging it. Everything's de-rigged. Remember, each samurai has 4 or 5 helpers. So they're all de-rigging everything, getting the samurai on, getting his stuff done, and out he goes. However, one of the rules is when the army gets there, the commander or one of the commanders will go out and search the area and check everything with a troop of horses, like mounted Monomi scouts, thundering around, checking everything while the rest of the camp's being constructed. A samurai is not allowed to take his armor off. He's not allowed to take his saddle off, and he's not allowed to go inside his he's not even allowed to go inside the tent, basically, until the commander comes back and the signal is given. So you've got to imagine all the samurai putting their stuff up with their ashigaru and with their servants, and they all stand by and wait, and they're waiting, and the next thing you hear the thundering horses coming back, and the commander comes through the gate. He says everything's okay, there is nobody around, so set the shinobi up. The shinobi will set up to go out and start checking the area, set the night guards out, and the rest of you dismount, you know, get your horses stabled, get to bed, get your food, get to bed, and then get ready for the next day's march. And that's every day, constantly, every day, until you arrive at your permanent position where you want to fight, and then you make a better camp. But beyond that, you then go off and start fighting. This is the marching of a samurai army.